Yo, what's good, gamers? What's good? My name is Dr. Ryan Terrell, and welcome to Reading with Ryan, baby. And today we're going over stress management strategies and esports. And hopefully you guys can learn how to stress less and tilt less and stuff too. If you want to learn more about me and what I do, if you want to work on your mental and staying in the game, want to learn how to climb more efficiently and not beat yourself up so hard, please visit my website, psychsensei.com, and there you can fill out a free consultation form and you and I can get together, see what's kind of going on, and work towards your win condition today, baby. Yeah, well, I hope everyone's doing all right. Same business as usual for me. Today is the Friday, the last day before the weekend, so I hope everyone's doing well. But yeah, as always, this is a for fun reading thing. At the same time, if you have esports psychology questions, psychology life questions, whatever, yo, put them in the chat. I'd rather talk about those things instead. But we're just gonna let this one have a free flow of consciousness while we read this thing. So let's jump into it, shall we? Let's go. All right. This article is entitled Stress Management Strategies in Esports, an exploratory online survey on applied practice. All right, this is coming from Lays, Watson, Swittenham, Pedrina Ramirez, and Lutenbach. These are powerhouses of esport research, so I'm stoked. All right. While emerging evidence suggests that professional esport players experience a range of psychological demands relating to their performance, There is a need for evidence-based stress management strategies in esports. Esports can be defined as an individual or team-based gaming activity that includes competition and ranking systems across amateur and professional levels. I am going to save that definition because I'm going to be needing it later on for APA. All right, given the competitive demands of esports and the increasing interest from practitioners working on these issues, empirical evidence on applied practice in esports is needed. This knowledge could help to inform stress management strategies that are orientated on the specific demands of esports and ensure that ethical and professional standards, including competent and conscious behavior, are being met. Pertinent first step is to obtain the knowledge. To obtain this knowledge is to explore the factors perceived by practitioners to negatively impact the performance of esports players, and B, stress management strategies these practitioners use to support esports players. All right, nice. Okay, stress management strategies. Although some athletes are able to cope efficiently with the demands of the competitive environment, stress management interventions are an important approach to optimize players' performance, stress experience, and performance. In other words, stress management interventions can be used to optimize different aspects of transactional stress processes. Okay. Appraisal and coping. Okay. Appraisal and coping. Okay. Wow. Okay. The athlete's optimal activation and emotional states should play an important role when informing stress management interventions. Given the dynamic nature of the stress response over time, in the time to competition, different time frames, macro level, meso level, and micro level, should also be taken into account when applying these strategies. Examples of commonly used stress management interventions by sports psychologists refer to self-talk and performance-based routines. That's it. For instance, the use of self-talk and performance routines has been found to increase performance and decrease stress levels. Self-talk, performance routines. Interesting. For the context of esports, stress management strategies are provided by sports psychologists and/or performance coaches to the best of our knowledge. However, no study has provided insights on stress management strategies in esports. The necessity to close this gap in literature is indicated by research on the demands, as well as the stress and coping in esports environment. For instance, studies with professional players reported stressors such as performance pressure, team issues, and social media. Whereas Polis et al. Indicated that esports players use coping strategies such as mindfulness and emotional regulation. Other studies less frequently show the use of stress management strategies such as self-talk and performance routines. Interesting. Although sport and esport performance share several similarities, key differences such as the reliance on technology and the competitive structure of esports, constant game updates, and changing team rotations indicate the need to investigate the esports environment. This should allow practitioners to inform evidence-based stress management strategies that are tailored to the specific esports environment. All right. In contrast to previous research that focused on the perspective of esports players, this study investigates the perspective of practitioners in esports. Okay. Although esports research provides first insights into stress and coping. Taking this additional perspective into account would advance understanding and inform evidence-based interventions on a more holistic body of research. To identify potential factors that could inform the use of stress management strategies, the first aim of the study was to investigate internal and external factors perceived by practitioners to negatively impact esports players' performance. In addition, the study aimed to explore stress management strategies used before and after competition. Okay, so this is what I wanted to do. Okay, this is your purpose right here. Alright, how do they do this? Okay. Alright, they conducted the study using online study survey. It was created and distributed to gain an overview of factors perceived to negatively impact players' performance and support strategies currently used by sports psychologists and performance coaches working in esports worldwide. The study adopted the quality of survey studies in esports and sports psychology checklist. Okay. All right. They're over 18. They can speak English, and they work in esports and have a sports psychology degree. Oh, okay. Actually, the end's not that big. 7? Oh. 20 something. Wow. It's actually like... interesting. These guys are all over the place. Yo, Cheeky, what's good, baby? What is good? What is good? Alright, so these people came from... Okay, so to be eligible for this study, I think this is important to talk about. So, currently working as a sports psychologist, performance coach with individual esports players and or esports team. B, over 18 years old or older. C, able to speak English. A total of 25 participants. 7 females. Let's fucking go. Met this criteria. Was deemed to be acceptable given the sample size of similar survey studies with sports psychology practitioners and considering the relative infancy of the roles in esports. Welcome, baby. Welcome. What's good, Cheeky? Hopefully you don't get too stressed. I got absolutely awful sleep last night because I was watching someone dominate League, but gonna go to sleep early today to tune in, though, bro. I also won a game today earlier. It was glorious. I was even playing freaking support. But no, this does not take preference over your sleep. Go to sleep, man. Alright. What time zone are you in? Where are you actually, man? I might actually end up falling asleep to Sensei reading ASMR. Hey, you know what? I heard people say I do have a nice voice for that, so we'll figure that out. Hopefully we can, was that osmosis some information in there? Alright, the demographic characteristic of the participants are shown in Table 1. In terms of roles, 8 participants refer to themselves as performance coaches, and 3 as sports psychologists. Other titles were provided, namely performance psychologist, psychologist, mental coach, mental performance coach, performance manager, head of player development, coach, esports coach. And you know what? Yo, you know what all these people are missing? An esports psychologist like yours truly. I'm in Bosnia. It's 11 p.m. right now. Last night, it was like 1:30 when I was watching. Dude. Shout out to Bosnia. Esports performance coach, performance specialist, mental performance coach, and team development coach. Okay, number of participants provided multiple roles titles. 5 participants were affiliated with a sports psychology governing body. Okay. And 3 participants reported to being in training to become a sports psychologist. 4 participants were located in Germany, 3 in France, 3 in the United States, 2 in Spain, 2 in England, and 1 each in Belgium, Canada, Colombia, Finland, Israel, and the Netherlands, Poland, Slovenia, Spain, Switzerland, and Turkey. Damn. Most random country. Hey, you know what? You guys are good at what's your face? Gymnastics? Is that what you guys are known for? Alright, so they're working League of Legends, Counter-Strike, Valorant, Fortnite, Rainbow Six Siege, Overwatch. Okay, like 7 participants consulted in one esport only, and 18 participants consulted in multiple esports. A number of participants worked in different leagues within the same esports. For example, top-tier League of Legends competition in Europe, North America, and Germany. Finally, 20 of the 25 participants worked with athletes in traditional sports such as soccer, basketball, and hockey. I have no idea. Honestly, I don't follow our sports. I know we have one good person in swimming and skiing. Those are like our stars right now. Bro, that's awesome. What's the esports scene like in Bosnia? Alright, I'm not going to go through that. I'm not going to go through that. Okay. I'm just going to go with the results. Non-existent esports. Let's freaking go. Alright. So basically this study is looking at like the things that stress people out in esports and gaming by as reported by sports psychologists that work with esports people. So let's go for it. Results: 25 eligible participants completed the online survey. In line with the aim of the study, the findings are presented in 2 main sections: factors perceived to negatively impact performance and stress management strategies. Our highest ever Val peak was like 1 radiant peak 3 years ago. Right now it's some guy that's immortal too. Is it because the ping is bad? Alright, factors negatively affecting performance. The majority of sports psychologists and performance coaches reported that a limited availability to cope with stress and emotions was an internal factor negatively impacting performance. There it is, baby. Ability to cope with stress and emotions was an internal factor negatively impacting performance. The ping isn't awful. The talent pool just isn't very big. Lamau, our population is like 3 million and shrinking each year. Ooh. God, that's crazy. The size of Bosnia is like the size of Hawaii. We should be friends. Alright, you know what I'm taking from this sentence, though? Ability to cope with stress and emotions. Like, if this is like one of the biggest thing that's negatively impacting people in esports, like, even more so, it's important that you focus on how to do this even IRL, because like that shit leaks into esports. Or like, oh, I just need to be stoic. I don't need any emotions. It's like, it's not having any emotions. It is the ability to manage your emotions. That's the most important part. The size of Hawaii. This low-key should be informative. I'm very bad with coping with emotions during games, but also seems nice that I'm not alone. Nope. This is a this is a person problem, and people play esports, so it makes sense. Practitioners also reported the following factors: lack of self-confidence, unhealthy lifestyle, grinding mentality, playing as many games as possible, lack of attention, mental fatigue, lack of motivation, lack of self-awareness, poor communication skills, inadequate preparation, lack of experience, values, empathy, negative self-talk, and outcome-based expectations for performance. Man, yes, esport players, man, we're freaking going through it, bro. We are going through it. Lack of self-confidence, unhealthy lifestyle, grinding mentality, lack of attention, lack of self-awareness, mental fatigue, lack of motivation, poor communication skills, inadequate preparation, lack of experience, values, empathy, negative self-talk, and outcome-based expectations for performance. Damn, that's a lot of stuff. Lore drop. There was a point in time where I regularly would cry every day playing Val because it was so frustrating, and I was so bad at dealing with it. We good now though. What do you think helped? I guess like helped you become more resilient, or help you not cry so much when you were playing? All right. On the other hand, external factors impacting performance negatively include the following: schedule issues, lack of unprofessional environment, performance pressure, communication issues, team issues, jobs insecurity, lack of knowledge about the game, external criticism, social support, resources for personal development, psychological safety, job insecurity, constant in-game changes. Okay. External factors. This is internal factors. Okay. Job insecurity, and they have this twice. You should have been 4. Okay. So in conclusion, I mean, I'm thinking that there's a lot of things that can kind of contribute. There's a lot of internal and external factors that affect performance. Um, it's interesting that like some of these things are like outside of people's control. I would say like external criticism, in-game changes, job insecurity, unprofessional environment. These things, there's some things here that are outside of your control, but it looks like honestly everything in this internal one are totally inside of your control or a player's control. Can I suggest adding different highlighter notes? It's what I do for my school notes. Can I suggest adding different highlighter notes? Oh, like what do you mean, like different to code them for you? I'm just using red, but I guess I could use different ones like definitions and stuff. When this subject like when I like the subject enough to actually highlight things, that is. Just getting so frustrated so many times it becomes normal. Ooh, I don't know if getting frustrated so many times that's a normal thing, bro. I mean, you know? I mean, I think like if you're getting super frustrated and you're like crying in your games, maybe it's time to take a break, you know? Like games are supposed to be fun, not super stressful. All right. So these are all the things impacting somebody, internal, external. But most interestingly, like I'm saying, like I'm looking at the factors that someone can control on their own versus the external things that may be getting to them that are outside of their control. All right, stress management strategies. As shown in table 2, the most frequently utilized strategies. Okay, breathing's going to be in here, watch. 1 to 2 hours before competition. Were breathing techniques. Just breathe, bro. Breathe. Okay, my friend wants different colors. Okay, breathing. Okay, I think this is the most important thing. 1 to 2 hours before competition. It just clicked when you said Hawaii earlier. This whole time I thought you were like LA. I mean, I'm in LA right now, but I was born and raised in Hawaii. You know what I mean? Dude, honestly, I think the city of LA is bigger than Bosnia. What the fuck? It's crazy. All right, imagery, performance routines, physical exercise, mindfulness, meditation, self-talk. Okay. This is 1 to 2 hours before. You knew it. You knew what? That was from Hawaii or from LA? Or in LA? Not from LA. I'm in LA. Okay, 8 participants reported to have access to player to provide support immediately before competition. 9 participants sometimes have access to players, and 8 participants indicated that they did not have access. Responses regarding stress management strategies utilized immediately before competition, most frequently including breathing techniques. Okay, this is right before. Utilized immediately before competition. From LA. Also, LA has a larger population than my entire country. Yes. And by like 33% too. Damn. That's crazy. That is wild. Okay. Okay, most frequently used breathing techniques. Breathing techniques. Imagery. Physical exercise and self-talk. Okay. And this one is immediately after competitions. Reported stress management strategies such as breathing techniques, social support, journaling, walking. This makes sense. I like how they broke it down like a lot before, like 2 hours prep, right before and then the reflection afterwards, the breathing to calm themselves down, the talking to probably your friends that you just lost or you won, the journaling to reflect on your experience, and then walking, getting out of the place, taking a walk, being mobile. And look at this. Relax. I love how they put definitions to all these things. What is the A, B, C, D? Oh, here. I asked. Okay, okay, immediately before, immediately after. Days after competition? The fuck? I mean, sure. Okay, here it is, I guess. They're gonna talk about it. The most frequently utilized strategies 1 to 2 hours after competing include social... Oh, yeah, they did. Social support. Journaling. Providing space. Bro. Yup. That is true. People are like... Okay, so I was on this team once, and they were losing, and the management kind of got upset with me because they're like, Ryan, what are you gonna talk? Are you gonna talk to them after they lost? I'm like, I mean, what do you want me to say? And they're like, well, how can you make the loss feel less bad? I'm like, you can't. Like, it's just gonna be time and the meaning making that we come to at the end of this. And I think right now, like, talking about the loss when we just had it, like, isn't really productive. Let's just take a 1 to 2 hour break. Let's just chill maybe for the rest of the night. And tomorrow when we come back, we can talk about it as a group. But right now, I think it's not going to be helpful because we're all just all mad. And they just, like, wanted me to do something. And I was like, I can't do anything. Like, it's just going to suck for a little bit. And they didn't like that response. I've tried journaling for like a month. I never really felt like I was gaining any benefits, so I stopped. I mean, I think the thing with journaling, right? It's like, well, what's the purpose of journaling, of all these things, right? Like, what's the purpose of why you're doing it? So, I mean, I think if you're gonna journal, like, it's a reflection of the day. Are you trying to like remember certain things about your day? Are you trying to highlight certain things about your day? Are you trying to solve certain problems? Like, think about what you're trying to get out of the journaling activity. Like, are you trying to express your emotions? Are you trying to be like really open and honest with something or someone that's yourself through the journaling activity? So, I mean, journaling helps. It just really matters what you're journaling for. All right. Discussion. The primary purpose of this work was to provide initial assessments, insights into the internal and external performance factors perceived by sports psychologists, practitioners to impact esports performance and stress management strategies used by these practitioners before and after competition. All right. This study identified a range of internal and external factors that practitioners believe impacted players' performance. In line with our assumptions on the relevance of stress and previous esports research, external factors most frequently related to it's really funny, like this. I guess this study is interesting because like they're just naming the different types of things that affect esports players. Now notice how they didn't like say this is how you fix it, right? Or like this is how you do it. This is my okay, these are the things that they're encountering and the things that they're doing to try to like make it last worse. See, that's the thing. I never really had any reason to start journaling. Like I was just writing how every day went, how I felt, what I'd want to change, etc. But I never felt like it had any big purpose. I mean, I think that's why you stopped. Like that makes sense to me. If there's no purpose in doing something, typically that behavior doesn't last. Even if you want to do something, if there's not a purpose of why you're doing it. So, I mean, some people use different journals for different reasons. Some people like to write what happened in their day because they want to be like their own historian. Other people write inside of their journal because like they need to externally process whatever happened, or be open and honest with something or someone. So that's why they continue to journal, or so it really depends on what you want to get out of the journaling experience, not just the writing. All right. Whoops. Okay, wait, I was highlighting something. Okay, external factors most frequently related to schedule issues, unprofessional environment, external pressure. Okay, well, the most common internal factors were stress, emotions, and coping, anxiety and emotional regulation, self-confidence, attention, and an unhealthy lifestyle. No matter how bad you want to do it, yep, no matter how bad you want to do it. Yep, I remember you telling us this during the Voltaic stream, where everything really needs a purpose, else it won't last. Yep, everything needs a purpose. You need a purpose for the thing. Yep, no matter how, because I mean, you want, for example, how bad do you want to change your sleep schedule? But if you have no purpose of changing it and it's good enough right now, I can change. Or how bad you want more money, but if you have enough money right now, even though it sucks and you could want more, like, if it doesn't suck enough, they're not going to be willing to try to make more money or whatever, you know, as long as you have enough. So, what's the purpose? All right, similarly, empirical studies have from traditional sports have shown that performance is positively impacted by group cohesion, effective emotional regulation, self-confidence, and sleep. Go figure, bro. What? Positively impacted by group cohesion, emotion regulation, self-confidence, and sleep. Go sleep. Gotta get water, BRB. All right, go take a break, dude. Yo, what's up, Demonic? I see you, baby. I see you. Okay. However, Trotter et al. Reported less social support, self-regulation, and psychological skill used in esport players compared with traditional sport. Whoa, okay. I agree, though, and I think the reason why there's there's less social support, self-regulation, and psychological skill use in esport players than traditional sport players is because I don't think esport players are trained in mental skills. I believe they're trained in mental warfare, but I don't think they're trained in mental skills or how to regulate themselves. And the reason I don't think that is because if you just think about the way that esport players learn how to play their game. Like, it's alone, there's no coach, you're doing it in your own room by yourself, dealing with all the things versus like having a coach or teammates that you can lean on when you're coming up, not just like when you're in college or trying to go pro, you know what I mean? But like kids and learning how to like talk and interact with people online nicely. You don't have that. So I think that's probably why there's not like the support and growth and development in kids or just gaming in general versus like traditional sports. Addressing aspects such as an unhealthy lifestyle, coping strategies, and schedule issues seems to be of significant importance in esports due to short and long-term effects associated with prolonged gameplay, including lower levels of general and mental health. Unlucky. I think also another major difference between like esports and traditional sports is like I feel like in esports, because you don't have that physical release of like emotion, like after you run or when you hit somebody or you make a shot or you're running up and down the court, you know, you have these like little bursts of physicality that get to release your emotions. But I feel like in esports, you have a buildup of tension and stress, but it doesn't go anywhere. Like after the Nexus goes boom, or you see that victory or loss screen like pop up, like that's it. Like there's no like and you're running around, you're high fiving. There's not like that's it for you, and like you have to like get up from your chair and like walk around and stuff. But in like traditional sports, you do have that camaraderie, you do have that like physicality piece, that physical release of your emotions, but there isn't in esports, you know? All right, overall, it is necessary to also investigate performance and healthy related aspects in esports, such as sleep and self-confidence, and provide players with evidence-based interventions in the future. I mean, here's the thing though, even though there's evidence-based interventions for the future that esport players could use, bro, they don't want the evidence. They want to do what they want to do. I'm back. I got into a minor argument with my mom with my mom on the bioavailability of magnesium citrate. We're good now though. I heard basketball mention what we were doing. We were talking about like the difference between like physical sports or traditional sports and esports, and there's a lack of like physical release of emotions in esports than in basketball or like traditional sports, where you can have like you can release these emotions you're experiencing outwardly or physically, like high-fiving, running, jumping. But in esports, like you're just in your own room, you don't really have that like release of emotions via your body. All right. Stress management strategies. Breathing techniques, imagery, and physical exercise were most frequently reported. Both 1 to 2 hours. Both 1.5. Oh my gosh. Both 1 to 2 hours and immediately before competition. In contrast, practitioners more often acknowledge to utilize performance routines and meditations 1 to 2 hours before a competitive match. Excuse me. As someone who plays both physical sports and esports, I can 100% confirm esports are significantly more frustrating for the reasons you just listed. Yeah, dude. Like, there isn't that, like, yeah, you know, like, even when you win or, like, when you lose, you, like, I mean, that's why maybe people chuck their mouses, you know, slam their desks. Because I feel like they do need, like, a physical release or embodiment of these emotions to, like, exit your body. You know what I mean? So I think you only see the negative things, but I mean, I wonder even if you had like mid-round pacing, you get up from your seat and walk around, how that would be helpful, or if you like do push-ups or something, so that you have that physical release. I'm thinking. Okay. While previous research primarily provided insights into players' coping strategies, such as imagery and physical exercise, the present study demonstrates additional techniques being used before competition by practitioners such as breathing, music, walking, and progressive muscle relaxation. In general, practitioners most frequently provided interventions that can be used to modify players' psychophysiological responses before competition and or their direct attention. I like that. Both physical sports don't feel nearly as bad when you lose because at the end you're just so gassed you can't even really be mad. Yeah, I agree, man. I totally agree. I totally agree. And then I think also maybe why the team feels better in esport, I mean, than like in traditional sports than in esports. I also do think it's because there's like a collective hazing of like running or like doing physically shitty things together because you have to either do conditioning or drills or whatever. And you just don't have that in esports. You know, like to see someone suffering just as much as you are in practice and instead like oh they're just like sandbagging or whatever, but if you actually saw someone panting or lifting or you know doing the other physically shitty thing that you're doing, I feel like there's like some type of trauma bonding over that, you know, but in esports there isn't. And oftentimes I really get the opposite too, where people just don't want to like even do the cringy activity or do the activity as a team because it looks weird or it's uncomfortable. And then that just sets the entire tone of the team. If I don't want to do something, you know, I'm not going to do it. And then that's bad. Versus I feel like in traditional sports, if your coach says do something stupid, you're all going to do the stupid thing no matter what because like your coach told you versus I don't want to. There's like weird imbalance in esports, I feel like too. Yeah, we bond over that. Yeah. Getting absolutely cooked in practice. I do think so, man. Like, there's something about like physical punishment or physical trauma via team that, you know, makes you bond closer, I think. I don't know. I'm not saying esport players are weaker. I'm just saying they're not used to the things that traditional sport athletes need to. Like, for example, like if you were to take like a wrestler and their mentality and then put it into an esports player, they would be a fucking god. Like I think the most mentally strong competitors are wrestlers. Like just even high school, middle school wrestlers, like their mental is so tough. So like if you were to take that mental that was developed by physically grinding out their bodies and doing, you know, waking up, going to sleep, eating, you know, to maintain a certain weight, all those kinds of disciplinary things, and you were to put that into an esport athlete, that guy would be fucking terrifying. Yo, what's up, Afro Ninja? Yo, that would be absolutely terrifying. So, I don't know what it is. And it was so funny. Like, I just got tagged in this tweet, and the tweet is, it's by Wolverine, and to have any sports psychology explored learned helplessness in the context of surrendering. It seems that it would heavily shift the current way that people think about the cost benefit trade off, and most players and pros should drastically reduce their surrendering like percentage. And like what I thought was really interesting about that was like I've heard so many like players have different approaches to forfeiting. Like, for example, like if the game is just lost and it's a doomer, some pros would be like, I'm just gonna forfeit and we're gonna like think about what we're gonna do better for next time, or like save that time to prep for the next game. Okay, that's fine. That's like a very Korean mentality. But at the same time, most people think like, oh, I'm just gonna FF. I'm just want to get out of this game. This game sucks. But here's the thing. Like, if you really think about that decision, that choice, that strategy, that skill, if you think everything is skills like I do, then basically what you're teaching yourself is every time a game gets hard, I'm going to FF. And it teaches you, they use learned helplessness. I kind of do like that term. Like, you learn how to be helpless or how to avoid the shitty game by just FFing and just taking the loss, you know? At the same time, if you're not a professional, if you're not like, if you're an aspiring pro, especially, like, your rule should be never FF and grind out the game to get as close as you can to winning. Because if you think in that mentality, sure, you may not win, but what you're really doing is you're training your brain to A, manage the emotions of being in a shitty game, B, challenging yourself to see if there's other ways to win or lose less in the shitty game, and you're choosing to play versus just FFing. Like, and training that discipline, training that choice, training that muscle to stay in the uncomfortability, even if you may not win. And yes, I think like if you're not a team of pros focusing on that, now you're building mental resiliency. So even if a game is terrible, you can stick through it and continue to play your best, you know? So I also think like that's a really important thing to consider. What skill you're training? Are you training, I just want to avoid this bad feeling? Or are you training staying in the pocket, being disciplined, and finishing the game? All right. I played in like pugs with some people for a while in Val and never really bonded with them. Meanwhile, some random guy shows up to two basketball practices and we feel like knowing each other forever. I mean, yeah, I think the same thing too is like you see this person, you're in person, you see this person at basketball versus like you may never see this person in Val, like you may hear this voice, but you never see this person or physically interacting with them. So that makes sense. Like we typically make better bonds with people that we know IRL than just their voice, and I think it's also easier to be dicks to people that we just hear their voice or like see their avatar but not know them, versus in basketball, if you were to push this guy down or like be a really big dick to him, now it's like personal because you can see him. Are you telling me if I decide to do MMA like my friends tried to convince me instead of basketball, I'd be good in Val right now? I mean, mentally maybe. Mentally, maybe. Yo, thanks for the follow, Real Afro Ninja. Thanks for the follow, baby. I mean, maybe your mental would be better in sticking in the pocket or being able to grind something out. Maybe. But I don't know if you took shots to the brain and, got boxed in the face, and if your TBI would help you. I don't know about that. So that's a trade-off, I guess. Probably never FF'd a game in my life. I was always pissed off my teammates who voted no. I'm not gonna lie, I might have FF'd a couple games yesterday. It was over. I might have done that. Do as I say, not as I do, right? That's the whole thing. I've meditated for a few weeks now, but I know what the best way to meditate. I don't know what the best way to meditate is. I usually focus on my breathing for 15 minutes. Whoa. How would you structure meditation and what aspects would you focus on? I mean, here's the thing, like, for you, Afro, like, I'm thinking, well, what do you want to get out of your meditation session? Like, for example, are you trying to clear your mind? Is this for relaxation? Are you trying to focus on something? I can't really tell you what the structure of the meditation is because I'm not sure what the structure, what the purpose of the meditation is for. For example, like, if you're trying to just calm and chill and focus on your breathing for 15 minutes, that's one thing. But if you want to like, I really want to focus my mind on this thing and train my focus, I might even bring down the time that you are training for to smaller bits so you can have more endurance to do so. You know, because I tried myself to do like, I started with 2 minutes, then went 5 minutes, I tried 10 minutes, and I tried 15. For me personally, 15 was like too long for me. You know, I really just tried to do, my sweet spot was like 10 to 5 to 10 minutes, honestly. Clear my mind and be able to focus and stay calm and val. Yeah, I mean, the thing that I would think about would be like in Valorant, maybe I'd even try it for like how long a round is. Or, and then, because I think with Valorant it's different because you have like a minute and a half, 2 minutes of like sprinting, then you have like 1 minute to buy and rest, and then you have to do like over and over again, like sprint, rest, sprint, rest, sprint, rest, sprint, rest. And so maybe I would take it like try to go by rounds, and maybe I'll do some visualization of rounds, or I would think about stuff that I wanted to do in rounds, or maybe if you want to practice your focus, maybe yeah, we focus on your breath. And then, you know, every time that your mind goes somewhere else, it's the practice of catching where your mind is going and then bringing it back to your breath or bringing it back to the count. I like to visualize numbers. So I also saw like numbers popping up like 1, 2, 3, 4 in, you know, so I don't know what you want to picture in your mind, but if you can keep your mind active on a picture and then every time it kind of drifts away and catch it, then the goal would be to count or be conscious of how many times your mind drifted away. And then hopefully through your meditational practice, it's less times over time that you get drifted away to something else, you know? That's what I'm thinking. I got a new water bottle. I've been drinking hella water lately. Hell yeah. Cheers, let's go. There's nothing kind of to do with just, with mental, just random. Wait, what do you mean, man? What does that mean? Okay. Let's finish a couple more paragraphs. We can freestyle this shit. What do you say? All right, in comparison, motivating or activating techniques, self-taught physical exercise, were used less often by our sample. An explanation for this result might be related to the fact that fewer practitioners were trained as sports psychologists and had more generic sports science backgrounds. However, additional research is needed to examine players' arousal levels before competition and practitioners' decision-making behind selecting relevant strategies in order to move beyond speculation. It means you can't read, Unc. We got to get you some new oh my god, I can't even read. You're right. A new prescription. There's nothing kinda to do with mental, just random. What are you talking about, man? Where'd I miss it? Where'd I miss it? Oh, and then Afro, if you followed, bro, where's your little guy on the bottom, dude? Pick your guy. Oh, so just focus on something visually in my mind, and if I lose focus, I refocus, and that trains focus kind of like a muscle, right? Yes, because I mean, if you think about like the practice of meditation, right? It's not just focusing on your breathing, but eventually your mind is going to go on to like, I wonder what's for lunch, or, I have to like, I'm kind of thirsty right now, or, I wonder what, I'm going to be doing later on, or, oh, that was really stupid. I shouldn't have died in my game that way. I shouldn't have peaked that dry, or what, you know, like you're going to have random things that kind of come in your head. And so when that random thing comes in your head, the skill is to catch it, or A, become aware that the random thing is there, or that you drifted off from the thing. Then B, catching yourself from going on that thought and then returning yourself back to the thing that you're thinking about, which is either the count, your breath, the visualization, whatever it is. And the reason why that's the practice is because even in your game, you're going to be thinking about something. I have to hold this angle. And then you'll be thinking about other things like, oh my God, if I miss a shot, I can lose a round, right? Like that thought of if I miss a shot, I'm going to lose a round is distracting. So instead, just like that distracting thought in your mindfulness practice, you're going to catch it, you're going to acknowledge it, and then you're going to redirect it to the thing that you want to focus on, right? That's the entire game. If you really want to control and regulate your focus, that's how you can directly use meditation to the game. By taking, trying to focus on the thing that's really important, and instead of getting lost in the oh no's, whatever's that's going to be distracting, you acknowledge it, let it go, and then refocus it here. Like that's the entire practice. So that's the muscle of awareness, catch, redirect. And you're going to do that over and over and over again because that all takes energy, just like this muscle, right? Thanks a lot. I got you, baby. That sounded aggressive. My bad. I'm sorry. I should do that too. Honestly, I feel like I lose focus way too often in Val. Dude, honestly, me too. Valorant is so much harder, I think, than League of Legends because like you said last time, Cheeky, like you're holding an angle and you're just looking. You're just holding it the entire time, right? And then you'll be thinking about their stuff, and then something comes into your like jump scares you into your field of vision, and then you have to shoot and react, right? Versus like there's always something to be doing in League. There's always something new to be like looking at. Maybe it be the mini map, maybe like a wave that's coming in. Like you can keep your array active, but in like Valorant, like you're just holding and just looking and just looking and just looking, which is really hard for me. You know, like you can jiggle and stuff like you're saying. You can jiggle or whatever, or you can like. But sometimes you're like switching your guns, and that's not really helpful. You know, and then you die with your gun or your flash in your hand. It feels so bad. Um, do you think that there's any particular reason why there's so why this is so much bigger problem in esports than in traditional sports? Because, for example, like I never struggle in basketball with zoning out, but in Val, it's easily my biggest weakness. I mean, I'm thinking the reason why you don't zone out in basketball is because it's very stimulating. Like you're physically in the game. There's sounds to keep you alert. Like there's always something to be doing, something to be watching. You know, it's very active. But I think like we're just talking about in Valorant, sometimes in esports, you're sitting in a bush for 10 seconds, right? Like you're chilling, or like you're focusing on something else, or static, or there's a break in the game. So I don't think esports is as physically stimulating, thus it's easier for you to slip into autopilot or not be engaged. Also, I think because esports is less physically demanding, you probably think you can play for longer than you could. What I mean by that is like you can only play so much basketball before like you pass out, right? Your body will physically put you down for playing too much. But in esports, you think you can play 8 hours of games, but like, I mean, you're physically playing them, but your mind isn't being efficient or effective in doing the things that you need to do to be good in esports. So I think probably most esports players are just really tired and they aren't able to use the skills that they want because they're tired. That's what I'm thinking. I feel like mental is a huge factor that holds back my improvement. If I feel good, I hit everything, but when I get tilted or nervous, it's like I've forgotten to use my mouse. I mean, I think on that sense too, just kind of repeating what I said, I wonder if you're just tired, Afro. Like you're just tired and you're fatigued, thus your mental is bad, thus your mood is bad, thus like it's hard for you to focus and stuff, you know? Oh, there you go. You got it. There's your little guy. I see it. I see it, Afro. Tens put the Val experience best. I look for an angle, then I look at my mini map, then I throw a smoke, then I look at my mini map, then I look at my mini map, and then I just cooked. So by so much utility, and I throw another. Yeah, dude, I just saw a video about him complaining about the state of Valorant and stuff. I mean, even that process, right, is very active. Like, okay, I'm looking at my crosshair, then I'm looking at my mini-map, then I'm looking back at my crosshair, then I'm going to throw my smoke, then I look back at the mini-map. Like, he's always doing something, but I also think the thing that he left out was when he looks at the mini-map, there's probably something that he's looking for. Like, are they coming around the corner? Where are my teammates? Like, he's always directing his attention to something or for something. Like, there's a purpose of why he's looking at the mini-map or why he's going to throw the smoke or why he's looking at the screen. So, it's a very purpose-driven, like, switching of attention. Okay. Social support, walking, and journaling were the most frequently reported strategies used immediately after competition. Previous research had primarily highlighted the importance of social support and communication in esports. Yes, that's why I think, like, on teams, one of the biggest things esports psychologists need to focus on is building this in the team. Like, an actual team, social support. Like, I think that's, like, the most underrated thing where, yes, you can focus on the individual and how they're performing at the same time. Like, if you do not have a team that supports each other, it's like sandpaper. It's so rough. I get startled so often in Val, it's crazy. There's a lot of times where I physically jump back in my chair or, like, hit my mouse on the desk or whatever. That happened, like, twice a day. I mean, like, That's what I'm talking about. Like, it's hard. The jump scares, you're holding an angle, then all of a sudden something comes and you're like, ah! I totally know how that is, man. You know what? I really think this is a really big problem. And I think it's going to be a really big problem moving forward in general because I feel like people are losing the skill of how to talk to each other. So social support and communication come hand in hand, in my opinion. So I think more than half the time as a psychologist, what I'm teaching people how to do is be people on how to talk to each other and how to like communicate what they're feeling, thinking to each other to increase social support and teamness, you know? Because I think that esport players or people in general have a hard time having hard conversations because they don't want to be perceived as cringe or like they don't want to have conflict, so they don't speak. But by speaking, they are creating more conflict, which is kind of cringe. So it's like a self-fulfilling prophecy. And I think also the problem with communication is people think that they're talking about the same thing because they assume that they mean the same thing when they use the word, for example, respect. Like, what does respect mean to you? Does it mean, like, I see you as a human? Does respect mean, like, you need to do what I say? Does respect mean, do you appreciate the things that I'm doing for you? I don't know. Respect means a lot of different things. So when people say, oh, you're not respecting me or disrespecting me, okay, like, what does that mean? You know, or what does effort mean? What does work mean? Like all these different words mean different things to different people. But when we use them with each other, we're just assuming that we know, but we don't, you know? And then we have miscommunications and we all get upset with each other. And then we don't want to re-communicate what we mean because why would I say it? That don't they already know? Or shouldn't they know? Or we've talked about this and then we don't talk about it again, you know? So I think that's even more huge in esports team is that relationship and ability to communicate with each other. Tracking back to the thing earlier about physical versus esports, it's something I told my Val coach, like my problem that led to my burnout, just overplaying and overgrinding because you think you can do more. Meanwhile, in basketball, your body will tell you, yup, when you can't do it anymore, like there will come a point where you can't jump or shoot anymore. And you can go, okay, I'm done. That kind of stimulus doesn't exist in esports. Absolutely, I agree with that. I'm yapping, my bad. No, that's what this stream is for, baby. That's what this stream is for. I encourage it. Yes, that is the thing. Right there. You nailed it. Absolutely. Absolutely. People just don't know when they're tired, too. Like, I mean, I think it's so funny because, you know, like, when you watch little kids and they're obviously tired and they need to take a nap, but they're just, like, fussy. Right, they're not being cooperative. They have really bad mood. They're being upset and angry. All the little things just like bother them, and you're like, "Go take a nap." I'm like, "No, I don't want to take a nap." I'm like, "You're being fussy. Go take a nap." "No, I don't want to." Okay, just try to lie down for like 2 seconds, and they fall asleep, and they wake up, and everything is great again. That's every esport player ever. Like, bro, y'all just fussy because you're tired. Because you're playing so much and you're thinking a lot and esports takes a lot of cognitive energy. So go take a nap, go take a break and you'll be less fussy. You'll play better. You'll feel better, but you don't want to because you're a goddamn adult and no one can tell you what to do. But bro, you're not bad. You're just fussy. You're just tired. Take a break. Go to sleep. It change your world. Drink water. Go for a walk. It's gonna change your world, bro. Promise. Maybe that's my next tweet. You're not bad. You're just fussy. All right, although Trotter et al. Reported a positive correlation between in-game rank and high scores in social support, self-regulation, and psychological skill use, esports players demonstrate lower levels of social support than traditional athletes. Reviews suggest that the age of athletes positively relates to the repertoire of coping strategies and effective coping. That's probably even worse because they don't have this. No, Evelyn, I refuse, bro. You refuse. You're fussy, dude. I opted out of grinding Val tonight because I was exhausted from playing basketball and gym, and I realized if I try to grind, I'm not going to be great mentally and in game. So I'm just going to take this time to yap and rest. That's right, baby. We call this active recovery. Active recovery. Jagamo dropping 20 plus games in one stream, lol, and barely whiffs his... Dude, Arnold, that guy's a machine, bro. That guy's a machine. I love that guy, too. He seems like such a nice dude. Playing Val in general is self-harm. Oh my god, I'm dying. That's so funny. It's what's your face? It's elected self-harm or pleasurable self-harm. I guess that's being a masochist then, huh? Jog is the goat, dude. I'm a G2 stan. I used to work with the guard before they became G2, so that's my boys. I love them. Reported a positive correlation. Yeah, okay, okay. This seems important as comparisons between athletes in traditional sports and esport players have demonstrated differences in the average age. In detail, athletes in Major League Baseball, the National Hockey League, and National Basketball Association show an average age between 26 and 29.7. Bro, if you're gonna make it in the league, you're washed by 26 and 29. You're not. But I mean, that's what the rumor on the street would say, right? Like if you played esports at 26, you'd be like, oh my god, you're so old, versus like that's the average age. Also too, like, dude, if you're 26 in the NBA, your brain is fully cooked. You can probably emotionally regulate because your frontal lobes are cooked. And what's the average age of like an esport pro? What, 17, 18, 19 maybe? I'm a Sens fan because Johnny QT is fine. Hey man, we all got our reasons, baby. uh In contrast, players in League of Legends, StarCraft 2, and Counter-Strike Global Offensive reported an average age between 21. I was close. 21 to 23 years. All right. Just the average of these two. You have younger players with not cooked brains trying to compete at the highest level, just trying to use strategy, planning, emotion regulation, stress management, which are all frontal lobe experiences, and frontal lobe doesn't finish cooking until you're 25. So you have players literally doing these crazy things, trying to play at the highest level, trying to do all the stress regulation, communication, like strategy stuff with not fully cooked brains, with not fully formed like anatomy. Like you're making them do this without all the tools. Isn't that bonkers? And then you want them to be a professional and you want them to be like smart and like know how to communicate. Bro, like they don't have fully functioning brains. Period. Like if they were going to rent a car, it'd be more experienced because their brains aren't cooked. Cooked is a bad thing. Cooking means you're, I know, but like you're not fully, okay, it's not fully developed. You know, I'm trying to use cooked in the more traditional sense. Like it's not fully developed. It's like, I don't know. It's like eating, like trying to eat a cake and like cooking it for half the time and be like, ooh, cake is good. That's not. It's like, oh, this is optimal cake. It's not. But that's what professional cakes are made out of. The fuck? Baked would be a lot better term. I mean, in America right now, baked would mean you're like super high. But I guess developed. I'll use developed. All right. The importance of social support and communication with others represents available coping resources that could influence their appraisal and competitive situation. Have you ever helped a pro player that struggled with mental that later became more consistent in tourneys and scrims? And how long did it take? And what things did they implement? I think yes. Here's the thing though. Just like your meditation, it really depends on if they want to, right? Or if they think it's a problem. That's the problem with most players is they think that they don't need to do the things, or they don't need to be consistent in the things. But when they want to and they find value in it, yes, they can improve. I mean, I think another thing too that's really important for pro players is to see themselves from a different perspective and be confident in the abilities that they have, and seeing themselves manage themselves through failures. And if they can fail and bounce back, now they're building resiliency throughout the game. I mean, yeah, that's what I think. Okay, this is supported by evidence of, Okay. Yeah, I like these. I like the strategies that people use. I think that I really like the breakdown of like an hour or two before, right after, an hour or two after. Like I think these are really good strategies, you know? It makes me reflect on that. I think the other thing that makes me reflect on too is that like it's really important to build these things now because if you are 21, 23, it's important to understand that your brain is not fully developed. And these emotional regulation things are going to be more important, especially for you, because you are playing at a disadvantage. If you may have higher reflexes, but your cognitive abilities just aren't fully realized because of the lack of development in the structures that need to be realized to have those, skills. So I think if you can learn skills now of how to regulate yourself, or learn skills now of how to be aware of your emotions, what your emotions make you do, if you're able to work on talking to people and building your social support, I think those are all super helpful and will give you more endurance, more resources for you to continue to move forward. I think along with this too, though, is the importance of making sure that you're doing things with purpose. When you do these strategies, there's a reason of why you're doing them, not just like, this is part of my routine. Like, once you lose the understanding of how the routine is going to help you, the routine is now just something you do versus there's a purpose in why you do it. For example, your journaling, for example, your meditation, like, there needs to be a purpose for what you're doing for even the behavior to continue or be effective. Another way of thinking about this is like when self-care became a really big thing and people were like, oh, I need self-care, I need self-care, I need self-care. And like, oh, I'm going to the gym as self-care. And now the gym has become something else that you need to do versus being the thing of actual caring for yourself. The purpose of the activity went away and now you're just doing the activity. So for example, that's exactly what autopilot is. You're just playing the game without a purpose, and now you're just pushing buttons and getting upset or whatever, or just passing the time, versus, okay, I'm actually going to go into DM, or I'm going to go into a ranked game. I'm going to practice these specific things to get these specific skills sharpened, to practice these mental things, like discipline or focus, like whatever you want to get out of that game. So, I mean, I think with all these things, the number one thing I think people miss is the purpose and why they're doing them and how they're going to help them. And I mean, even if they didn't help, that's what a placebo is, baby. Like, you believe that it's going to help you, and there's a reason for taking the pill or doing the thing that's not clinically effective, but because you believe that it is clinically effective, it will give you the effect, And if you're placeboing yourself into some things, listen, keep doing it. Placebos work. I'm never not gonna say don't do the placebo. Don't take it, dude. Take the placebo. Believe. That's like more than half the battle. But yeah, those are my takeaways. I'm gonna make some content later on, probably, around this. Maybe I think it's probably gonna be next week. So what's your face? Probably next week's carousel post that I'll make for my Instagram. All right, friends. Well, thanks for coming, bro. This was so fun. Thanks, Cheeky, for coming. Afro, thanks for coming, baby, and talking, and thanks for the follow. This was great. Love the conversation. Yeah, this was a lot of fun. So I'll be back next week, Monday, I believe. Let's double check my schedule. Next week, Monday, 12. I'm trying to do these a little earlier in the day so I can be a little more awake and exciting when I read them, and not stumble over my words. So next week, 12, and then Friday again at 12. I'm thinking Monday I might play. We'll see. I kind of want to play some more. The new champ just came out, so good fun. But I will probably do another one of these, like, reading things on Friday or one of these days. I placebo myself into feeling less sore, even though I was taking half my recommended dose of electrolytes. I was taking the full thing. I mean, maybe you can also placebo yourself that sleeping is helping you, yeah, too. Wink. Get to bed. But all right, friends, join me next week. If you want to learn more about me, please visit my website, psychsensei.com, or hey, listen, follow me on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, whatever. I try to drop pieces of content every single day. They're all shorts. So apparently I make good memes, so enjoy them, and, have a good weekend. Be safe. Love ya. Mwah. Remember, stronger mental wins. All right, friends, take it easy. Have a nice weekend. Love ya. Thanks for stopping by. All right, I go to bed now. See ya. Love you guys. Bye.